Greetings, everybody. Sean here. Let's get this started. Now, what I want to do is I want to talk to you about Governor Ralph Northam's, the governor of Virginia's mandatory requirement to wear face masks inside of public establishments. My question is, why now? Now, before I get started, I understand that there are going to be some people out there who are going to say, well, it's for public health and safety reasons. It's to help stop the spread of this virus. If that's your response, you either didn't understand my question, you didn't comprehend my question, or maybe there's another reason, but I'm not asking why. I'm asking why now? Why now that we're on a downturn of this pandemic? Why now a week after restrictions were lifted to begin phase one? And the reason why restrictions were lifted was because it was deemed safe enough to do so. Why after that do you implement this new restriction? Why didn't you implement this at the beginning of this pandemic? Why not when it was on the rise? Why not when you first initiated restrictions to begin with, did you not make it mandatory to wear masks as opposed to just making it a recommendation? If masks are that effective in slowing the spread of the virus. Now, I'm going to touch on this really quick too, because I know there are some people who sit there and say, well, the masks really aren't that effective. Look, masks are effective. To what extent, that's debatable. Or they help to an extent. And it also depends on the type of mask and the material and all this other stuff. So to sit and say that they're completely 100% ineffective, now that's just false. They are effective to a certain extent. Which again, makes me wonder, why did you wait until after we're on a downturn as opposed to when the virus was on the rise, when it would have been most effective to wear a mask? When wearing a mask would have been the most effective. So we go months not having to wear masks, and there were still essential businesses open. People could still go to places like Lowe's, Walmart, grocery stores, convenience stores, fast food restaurants. Yeah, they couldn't stay inside the fast food restaurants, but they could order the food and go. Ride public transportation. They could do all these things while the virus was on the rise. Now, obviously, there were guidelines put in place and restrictions put in place, and these places were complying with these guidelines, but still, at that time, people were still around each other, still passing by each other, at some points even mingling with each other. But the requirements weren't made then when it would have been the most effective. But now that we're on a downturn, now you decide to make this requirement. And the governor has stated that he had done some research and done some homework, and that's the reason why he implemented this mandatory requirement. Well, the same information that you had a week ago, same information you had the week prior, same information you had a month ago, is the same information you have now. Or a better way to put that would have been, same information you had now is the same information you've had in the past. That masks are effective in stopping the spread of the virus. But instead of implementing this at the beginning of the restrictions, you decide to wait until you start lifting restrictions to start implementing this. When it would have made more sense from a logical standpoint and a common sense standpoint to implement it prior to this. To me, that's a level of incompetence. And it makes it seem like they're just making the stuff up as they go along. But that's just my thoughts on that. Catch you on the flip side.